What if Donald Trump was never born? What if we hit the undo button and one of the most polarizing figures in modern history never existed? Today, we're counting down the top 7 ripple effects of a world without Trump, and you'll want to stick around for number 1 because it's the ripple that hits closest to home. Number 7. America without America first. In our reality, Trump didn't just win an election, he redefined politics. He broke every rule book, tweeting policies before breakfast, holding rallies like rock concerts, and calling opponents names on live TV. Now imagine American politics without that energy, or disruption, depending on your view. Without Trump, the America First era would likely have been less prominent. No trade wars, no tariff battles, no daily news alerts about tweets shaking markets. Presidents might have stayed more traditional, predictable even, relying on diplomacy and established institutions instead of social media megaphones. Washington could feel calmer with fewer political flashpoints. International allies might still trust the U.S. as a steady hand in global affairs. Would politics be less entertaining? Maybe, but it would almost certainly be less volatile. In a Trump-free world, America's democracy might look more like it did in the 1990s, slow, bureaucratic, and maybe even a little boring. But sometimes boring is the price of stability. And if politics felt calmer without Trump, imagine what the media would look like without him dominating every headline. Number 6. A quieter news cycle. Think back to 2016 through 2020, and from January 2025 through today, the headlines never stopped. Without Trump, the media landscape might feel like another planet. No constant breaking news banners, no fake news wars, no late-night monologues built around daily presidential drama. Journalists could go back to investigating, not just reacting. The press wouldn't need to fact-check live tweets or defend its credibility every morning. And networks might have focused more on actual policy, science, and international news instead of political theater. Without Trump's direct-to-follower megaphone, social media platforms would be different too. Maybe misinformation wouldn't spread so fast, and maybe we'd argue a little less online. But let's be honest, it would also be quieter. For better or worse, Trump turned news into a constant spectacle. Without him, we might have all scrolled a lot less. Of course, if the news wasn't in constant chaos, the economy might have taken a very different path too. Number 5. A calmer economy. Trump's business background shaped his presidency and the economy felt it. Tariffs did raise costs for some goods and created market volatility. And while estimates vary widely depending on methodology, some analysts have estimated significant household costs from tariffs. In a world without him, that doesn't happen. No sudden tariffs, no overnight changes in trade deals, markets remain more predictable, and businesses plan ahead without wondering what tomorrow's tweet might bring. Small importers wouldn't have to worry about overnight price hikes, investors could trust that tomorrow's headlines wouldn't send markets into a tailspin, and corporate leaders could focus on innovation instead of navigating political storms. Would the U.S. economy have grown faster? Maybe. It's possible that more money might have gone to jobs, research, and technology, not tariffs. The business world would be steadier, and families might save more on imported goods. And while businesses might have breathed easier, the culture we know today would look a lot different. Number 4. Pop culture without the MAGA era. Politics didn't just move into the headlines, it moved into fashion, movies, and even dinner conversations. The red Make America Great Again hat has become one of the most recognizable symbols on Earth. Without Trump, that cultural divide, where even hats carried political meaning, might have never existed. Celebrities wouldn't feel pressure to take sides so publicly, award shows might have stayed about art instead of activism, and late-night comedy could have stuck to jokes about weird commercials instead of world leaders. It's easy to forget Trump wasn't just a politician, he was a cultural force, shaping what people said, wore, and watched. Erase that influence and pop culture might have looked far more balanced, maybe even less exhausted. But culture is only part of the story because on the world stage, Trump's absence would have likely reshaped global power. Number 3. A world without Trump's shadow. On the global stage, Trump's absence changes almost everything. Allies like Canada, Germany, and the UK wouldn't have faced the same diplomatic tension. NATO might have remained stronger, the Paris Climate Agreement untouched. Without the trade war era, the global economy would have seen steadier growth. International institutions, the UN, WHO, WTO, might still view America as a cooperative leader, not a wild card. And for millions around the world, the idea of American democracy might still feel unshaken. And yet, beyond politics and power, there's a quieter ripple, one that changes how we all consume attention itself. Number 2, the attention economy. There's another more hidden ripple, one that runs quieter than politics or power. It doesn't move borders or economies. It shapes how the world watches, reacts, and stays engaged. Every other ripple, political, cultural, even global, depends on it. Because in the end, the real story isn't just about influence, it's about attention and who holds it. Without Trump, the entire attention economy might look different. No endless breaking news alerts, no midnight tweet storms shaping global headlines, no constant cycle of outrage keeping everyone glued to their screen. Trump's style amplified the payoff for provocative, attention-grabbing content. He showed that outrage drives clicks, clicks drive profit, and profit drives behavior. Remove that catalyst, and media itself evolves differently, less reactive, more reflective. In this alternate world, attention isn't captured, it's earned. People scroll less, think more, and maybe even talk to each other again. And when the noise fades, when the outrage quiets, something unexpected happens. The spotlight turns back to us. Number 1, how people themselves changed. Trump's greatest influence may not be on policy, but on people. He didn't invent division, he gave it a microphone. Without him, maybe fewer relationships end over politics. Maybe social media would feel less like a battleground, or maybe someone else would have filled that same space. But without his celebrity power, the messages might have never reached so many people so fast. Without Trump, America's polarization might have been less fierce, but voter apathy might have been worse. Millions who protested, organized, or voted because of him might have never been politically awakened, and yet the same presence is forcing a nation to confront just how divided it has become. A world without Trump might have been quieter and more predictable, but it also might have missed a mirror held up to our society, a reflection of our divisions, our desires, and the fragility of truth in the digital age. So perhaps the most interesting thing about a world without Trump is realizing how much his existence forced the rest of us to see who we really are. The real question is this: if one man could change the world this much by being born, what kind of world could we build by choosing to change it together? Subscribe and see what we undo next.